Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to all those who are present here this evening. Thank you for your enthusiasm by logging in so early and promptly on time. Um, this platform is successful only because you are here, so thank you for doing so. Um, Let me just recap what we had yesterday. We had a session on naturopathy yesterday with Dr. Ritu Gaur. She gave us some simple yet effective tips on how to stay healthy, how to overcome our anxieties. So I hope the members enjoyed it. We certainly had a good time hosting and listening to Dr. Ritu. Today we have a different topic altogether. It's astrology. It's a word which we all hear very, very often in our everyday life. Um, if we can say astrology is all that we have heard, is that astrology is a belief that is an alignment of the stars and planets which affect every individual's mood, personality, environment, depending upon when she or he was born. That is how astrology has been defined on Google. I thought that was the best way to pick up a definition from there. However, we have Bani Singh here, and she is going to tell us more about astrology, about horoscope, and lots more. So, Bani, a very warm welcome to this
Thank
platform.
you for having me, Sanjana. Thank you.
This is our episode 17 of the virtual Get Together of the Zoom In series. And if I could tell you all a little bit about Bani. Bani is a journalist and she has been a producer with NDTV and hosted and produced their flagship program, We the People. I know all of us are familiar with that. So Bani was a producer of that show. She started studying astrology 12 years ago at Bharati Vidya Bhavan, and she continues to be a student as well as a teacher. So over to you, Bani. I think if you could tell us what is a horoscope, the significance of a horoscope, I think we can start the session. Over to you, Bani.
Thank you so much for having me, Sanjana. I mean, a horoscope can also be horror scope, and it can just be a scope of, it shows you all the scope of your existence, basically. So now, what is a horoscope? If I were to look up at the sky at the time at which anyone was born, and I clicked a picture of the sky at that moment with the same configuration of all the planets and the constellations, the nakshatras, then that would be your birth horoscope. So that's at the time of your birth. Now, what is the right time of birth? Because there's a lot of discrepancy when it's recorded. The right time of birth is the first cry of the child. When the child realizes that I have an existence other than my mother's, I'm on my own now, and takes that first breath. So that's your time of birth. So the horoscope then is the picture of the sky at the time of your birth. Now it's basically on the principle of Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, as is above, so is below. So that's basically your horoscope. Now when we study Jyotish, it's the study of say 9 planets. We have 12 houses, we have 12 signs, and we have a whole bunch of nakshatras. So that's really the study of Jyotish. Now, when we talk of planets, you would study them as planets, as matter in the sky, but we say graha from the word grahini, which actually means in Ayurveda small intestine. So grahini is something that actually takes your nutrients and gives it to you. So a graha is either something that can seize you, grip you, that is a graha. But you can choose to use that energy the way you want to use that energy. No planet is good and no planet is bad. There is no need to be scared of Saturn, there is no need to be scared of Rahu, and there is no need to be scared of Ketu. Firstly, these are just energies and you need to know how to work them in your life. So just to give you a small introduction really. Has my screen gone off? Just a minute. I think I have a small problem here.
Vani, you want to share a screen?
Not yet.
Okay, but I'll
But
I'll make you a co-host nevertheless.
Yes, please do. Thank you. That would be great. Okay, so let's start with the father. Who is the father in astrology when we talk of Grahas? The sun. Now, the sun gives us light every day. It's the illuminator. It's something that is the soul. It signifies our soul. It's the king. It's authority. It's gold. It's wheat. That is the sun. That's the significance of sun really in your life. Now, Sun was married to somebody called Sangaya. So all of these planets have stories. They're all like you and me. They have marriages, they have relationships, and they have issues in those relationships. So Sun was married to Sangaya, and Sangaya found it very difficult to deal with Sun's energy. He was very intense, as we know. The sun shines very bright, so very, very intense energy. So she created a shadow for herself called Chaya. She left Chaya to look after the sun and all of her children. Now Chaya and the sun then had one child called Shani. So Saturn is essentially the son of the sun. So before I talk a little bit about Saturn, because that's something I want to spend a bit of time on, just busting some of the myths with that planet. In order, we'll go to the moon now, which is the mother, which is your mind, which is your manas, so your emotions. Now, it's all about your feelings here. People who have an afflicted moon or a weak moon in your horoscope, you'll find that you could be susceptible to a bit of anxiety, low feelings, things like that. Now, moon will essentially tell us the inherent stability that it has in it. Because moon was married to the 27 daughters of Daksh Prajapati. Now, Daksh Prajapati was a pretty hard father-in-law, and moon liked one wife, Rohini, above all of these nakshatras and his wives. So the father-in-law cursed him. You know, you're showing undue favors to one of my daughters. This is not going to work with me. So he cursed the moon. Now, the moon suffers from what we call consumption and decay. So you know what a full moon is, and you know what a new moon is. So that is why the sun shrinks every month, the moon shrinks every month. It becomes a new moon, and then in Purnima. So that's Amavasya and Purnima. It's basically just a result of a curse that the moon suffers from. So moon also, in fact, in mythology, ran away with Jupiter's wife, Tara. As if the 27 wives were not enough for him, he had to run away with somebody else's. So from that union of moon and Tara, we have Mercury, the planet Mercury. So Mercury is, for us, it signifies our intellect. It is our communication skill, our wit, our humor. Mercury is the prince, really. And he's, when we say a mercurial temperament, that is what Mercury is. It's very easily influenced. It's very fluid. It's also called Mimamsak. Mimamsak is somebody who can understand very difficult concepts and explain them very easily. So Mercury is all about the intellect. So the color is green. The grain is the moong dal. And the stone that we talk of Mercury is emeralds. You'll find a lot of people wearing emeralds. And that's because they probably have an afflicted Mercury, or they're trying to amplify the energy of Mercury in their life. So emerald is the stone of Mercury. Now from Mercury, I'll move to Mars. Mars is your survival instinct, your capability to defend and your capability to attack. So Mars also represents the sibling in your life. So your brothers, your sisters. That's the relationship that Mars talks about. Now, Mars is also, very importantly, the commander-in-chief. And he's not a losing commander-in-chief. He's a winning commander-in-chief. He doesn't like to lose at all. So he's your courage, he's your perseverance. He represents aggression in your life. Mangal jise kehte hain, Mangal is not something that is inauspicious, it's very auspicious because Mars is Bhumi Putra. So everything to do with your construction and things like property, this is all Mars. Moving on to one of my favorite grahas, Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom. Guru kehte hain to Guruvar, so it's Guruvar ka din, really. Jupiter is also our child. When we talk in astrology, Jupiter is the child. Jupiter is also the husband. So Jupiter is very, very important because he's the most benefic planet that we have. He's all about expansiveness. He's all about generosity. He's all about mercy, peace, spirituality, philosophy. So that's Jupiter for you. In fact, Jupiter struggled his whole life to get something called the Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya. This was something that the planet Venus had, Shukracharya. So Venus had earned the Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya, which was the power to raise the dead. This is something that Jupiter wanted as well, but that's why we have Jupiter and Venus as enemies, because Venus refused to share the Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya with Jupiter. Now, coming to one thing I must tell you about Jupiter, because it's the planet of expansiveness and growth, it will also represent obesity in your life. So there is that one downside, one or two downsides there with Jupiter. So obesity, a liver disease is something Jupiter can also give you. Moving to Venus. So Venus is now the spouse, your sexual urge, your sexual behavior. All your comforts, your luxuries, art, creativity, music, dance, all of this is Venus. Also a great benefic, also a very, very great benefic. He is Shukracharya, the only planet that has the Mrit Sanjeevani Vidya, and not in any hurry to share it with anyone. So again, a very important planet. Venus ka stone hai diamond, and Venus ko hum Shukra ke din. On Fridays, that's the day we propitiate Venus. Okay, let's talk about Saturn now. Anyone, please raise your hands if you're scared of Saturn. Okay, some are, some aren't. Okay, good.
You need to be scared of Saturn, Bani?
Not at all. You don't need to be scared of Saturn at all. Because first of all, Saturn is the son of Sun, as I told you before. So, Saturn se hi अनुभव कर सकते हैं सब कुछ. It's in charge of all of your experiences, and the true experiencer really is the sun. So Saturn in your life is that energy that will set a boundary for you. It will set your limits, that okay, this is your area that you can operate within. If you cross this boundary, if you go over this ledge, then I'm there to punish you. So Saturn is the judge and the jury in Jyotish. Saturn is also, so if you're driving a car and you have that brake, you put that brake ताकि आपका accident ना हो, Saturn will come as that brake in your life. Now अगर नहीं होगा brake तो फिर आपका accident हो जाएगा. But Saturn gives you those brakes because you need those brakes. You know, when you stop on the road, you see मुझे left जाना है, मुझे right जाना है, मैं आगे जाऊँ, क्या करूँ मैं? So Saturn will tell you, will give you that obstacle, will give you that little bit of struggle, but it's always for your own good. So you don't have to worry about Saturn, because Saturn is for the masses. It's for all of us. He's the true sevak. अगर आपको शनि भगवान जी को खुश रखना है, then all you need to do really not run to the mandir or donate 50 kilos of dal, but be good to your help at home. Be good to the elderly. Saturn is very happy with that, because Saturn is the chief karak of longevity. Okay, so you may have it's all in Saturn's hands. The spectrum or the span of life, really. So what Saturn does is it also teaches you detachment in your life. So it will give you those breaks. It will put those boundaries on you, because at the end of the day, we all need to realize we need to work within a certain boundary. The moment we cross that boundary, we're overstepping into someone else's. In the olden days, people would just take what they wanted. Now it's just a free show. So Saturn is there to make sure everyone stays within their limits. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. People, if you think you'll do some negative karma and it won't come back, it will. So Saturn will make sure you will bear that consequence. So that's really the only thing about Saturn. Because if we talk of who Shani Bhagwanji really is and what happened to him, he's been cursed twice over himself. So he's also as much a victim in a way. He was married very happily, and it was a pretty good marriage. But on one particular night, his wife and his passions seemed to sort of, there was a bit of a mismatch there. So the wife got very angry, and as Shakespeare says, hell hath no fury as a woman scorned. She cursed him. She cursed him that you ignored a willing wife. So you will now, whatever you look at now will be destroyed. So itni si galti, and that's so. All husbands, please beware. This is what happened to Shani Bhagwanji. Now, after that, Saturn being a tapasvi, he is the true tapasvi in the real sense of the term, really. He said, "ठीक है, मेरा कर्मा है. My wife has cursed me. Now I will always look down." तो शनि भगवान जी हमेशा नीचे देखते हैं, लेकिन जब उनकी दृष्टि किसी पे पड़ती है, there's a problem then for that person or that energy. So when Ganesh ji was born, as you all know, Ganesh ji is the remover of all obstacles, right, in our lives. He's also an incarnation of Krishna. Now, when he was born, the who's who in the world of the gods and the asuras, they all went to bless this, like the first child of the universe, as we say he is. So Shani Bhagwan ji also went. It was like the Ambani wedding, it was the it function at that time. So everyone went, as did Shani Bhagwan ji, and Parvati ji asked him to bless her child, but he kept looking down. He said, if I look at your child, then, he could be harmed. I don't want to do that because I've been cursed by my wife. So Parvati ji, being a bit vain at that moment, said, no, this is not possible. Nothing can ever harm my child. So the rest, as you know, is history. Shani Bhagwan ji looked at Ganesh ji, his head went flying off, and Parvati then cursed him that you will always be crippled. So all the people who were there got very upset with Parvati ji and said, that's not fair. He told you what's going to happen and you ignored him. That's not his fault. So then Parvati ji kind of reduced her curse to mild lameness. So in what Saturn might do in your life is he's the karak, the significator of all your joints, aches and pains in the legs and things like that. So the quality of life maybe might show some issues, but you'll have a very, very long life if you have a very exalted Saturn in your horoscope. So there's no need to be afraid of Shani Bhagwan ji. He's, as I said, against monarchy. He's all about the masses. He's a sevak. He's like how Hanuman ji was really for Lord Ram, the ultimate sevak. So seva kijiye and Shani Bhagwan ji is very happy. That's how you can deal with that energy, because he's really a force of faith in your life. Okay, enough about Shani ji. Now, when you all studied the solar system back in school, you probably didn't study Rahu and Ketu because they're not planets. They don't, there's no matter there. It doesn't exist. But what Rahu and Ketu really are in your in astrology, and not really in astrology but in astronomy, they're two very sensitive points. So sensitive that the rishis thought that that they can exert a lot of influence in our lives. So which is why they included them within the 9 planets. So Rahu, I would say, is the force that creates Robin Hood. If you've all heard of Robin Hood. So Robin Hood was an outlaw. He did a lot for the people. So that is Rahu. He's a revolutionary. He's an extrovert. That energy is all about being an extrovert and also very, very unconventional. Now, Rahu for us also represents the foreign, something that we don't know, the unknown. which is why everyone's very scared about Rahu, because earlier in earlier times, when people would travel overseas, they wouldn't come back very easily. So Rahu was seen as something negative, but not anymore. Travel is very easy today. People want to do that. So Rahu, अगर आपका अच्छा होगा, आपको sudden wealth भी मिल सकती है. It's a planet of suddenness. It will give you everything very suddenly. So that's Rahu for you. Another energy you need to understand if you need to make it work for yourself. Ketu. Ketu, the last planet, and certainly not the least. It's also, we say, the oldest of all the planets. Ketu signifies spirituality and moksha. So it's the moksha karak in your life. Ketu doesn't have a head, which is why it sort of means the destruction of the ego, because you can't meditate and go on the spiritual path if you have ego. So that is Ketu for you. Ketu is also very closely associated with Ganeshji, very closely associated with him, because he's seen as the first child of the universe. So much like, a child is, children can be a little mean sometimes. They'll throw tantrums to get what they want. And if someone doesn't listen to them, they get very upset. So Ketu can be a bit like that, can be a little childlike, because he represents the extremes in nature, creation and destruction, the very elderly and children. So at points, even the very elderly can behave like children. We all will get to that point. And children, as you know, they can throw their tantrums around, and that's that. But Ketu is another energy that can work very, very positively for you if you know how to ring it in, because Ketu आपसे जरूर भक्ति करवाएगा, जरूर. So it's better that आप खुशी खुशी कर लें. Don't try and hold that energy back, because in a Ketu dasha, that's something you start asking yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose? That is something that Ketu brings in your life. Okay, so these are the 9 planets, the grahas that we say. These are just energies, not good, not bad. You need all of these energies in your life for it to work okay. Now, Jyotish.
If I may interrupt you, you used a word karak to describe.
Yeah. So karak means a significator.
Okay.
Karak is a significator. So all these planets have their various significations, as you've seen. Mars is about courage, Sun is about the soul, Moon is about the mind, which is why Moon is so very important in astrology, because here is where all the problem is. We watch TV to find out every evening what's happening in the world, but very few of us get into our mind and see what's happening here. So Moon is very, very important. Now moving to the karma theory, because essentially astrology is based on the karma theory. So in astrology, karam siddhant hai. So if I could just draw a horoscope, at least one thing you should all be able to take back is how to learn a horoscope make a horoscope from this session. Sanjana, can I make it?
Yeah, you can do a screen share.
I can? Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah.
Okay. All the planets are placed in this box according to your karma. Every planet, where it goes and sits in your horoscope, talks about your karma. That's what it symbolizes, karma. You go this way, you just basically make a diamond here, here, and you go down, and here. So now, according to your karma, planets will be placed in these boxes. So just to take you through it, this is box number 1, and this is box number 5, which is something we're going to talk about very, very closely, and 9. And what this makes is the golden trine. Concept that's very important in geometry as well. Very sacred. Here you go. So here you have the 2nd house, the 3rd, the 4th, and so on and so forth. Okay, so talking about the karma theory now. The karma theory basically is based on three things. First of all, that there's going to be reincarnation. So we all reincarnate. Our bodies are left behind, our souls go. And the inescapable propensity that each of us have to do an action every morning. You know, I might get up in the morning and I might scream at someone. I might do something there. So at every moment, we are doing some action. So that action is going to have some reaction. So that's what this is all based on. Three types of karmas are what we have. The sanchit karma, the prarabdha karma, and the agami karma. So just to explain it to you in a nutshell, imagine this bag of rice, this big bori of rice that you have, and that entire bag of rice is what we call the sanchit karma. That's your accumulated karmic debt from many, many lifetimes. So that's sanchit. Now, when you are born into this life, this is your sanchit karma. You're given, say, a handful of rice from that big bag of rice. That is your prarabdha karma. This is what we call the no options karma. You have to go through this. There's no option here. So in other words, you can say it's destiny. So that's prarabdha karma. But every single day, you are making karma. You are doing action, and thus there's karma. So that at the end of it, at the end of your life, what will be left and what you basis what you do today is your agami karma. Now, how do we see that in a horoscope? Because really, you can see when is a karma fructifying in this life. You can know what kind of karma you've come with, what you're likely to do in this life, and what you're going to live with. Is this going to be your last birth? Yes, you can find that out from a horoscope, if this is going to be your last birth, if you're going to reincarnate again or not. So these are things that we can explain through the horoscope. So 159, the mind, the body, the spirit, a very, very important triangle here. 1 is yourself. 5 is your intelligence, your link with the past, your purva punya. So these are all your past karmas. The 9th house is also a very important house, actually the most auspicious house in astrology, because it's linked with the bhagya, your fate, your fortune. Why is it linked to bhagya? So एक theory है कि if you have a good bhagya, you will have a good guru. And why do you need a good guru? You need a good guru so that you know what karam to perform and what not to. You live by your dharam. And our dharam is basically to find the divine in us, right? So you need a guru to tell you that. And if you're lucky, agar aapka bhagya acha hai, that guru will be your father. Please don't get upset, mothers. You have an entire house in astrology as well. The 4th house is dedicated to mothers. So fathers are the 9th house. They are connected with the bhagya and the guru. So 5th house is very important. Mothers, you are the 4th house in astrology. You are responsible for the sukh, the happiness of your child. So again, the theory is that आपकी mother आपको बहुत चाहेगी, which all mothers do. तो आपको life में सुख रहेगा. Because the ultimate sukh you really get is in the womb. Right? And that is what the 4th house in astrology signifies, the womb. So coming back to 1, 5, and 9, I do want to tell you that 1, 5, 9 are also what we call the Lakshmi sthans. Lakshmi here is not about wealth at all. Lakshmi does not say wealth anywhere. Lakshmi means a laksh. What is your laksh? Your laksh could be anything. Your laksh could be knowledge. Your laksh could be self-realization. That is what Lakshmi is. So Lakshmi sthan aapke 1, 5, and 9 are the very, very important dharam houses of the horoscope. They don't have anything to do with wealth or money in that sense, but really ultimate wealth. So let's talk a little bit about the house that does give you wealth and gains. That is this house, the 11th house. Now the 11th house doesn't care about you at all. It doesn't care that it will fulfill your desires and that whatever you get, is it working for you or not? 11th house will just, it's an automatic thing. It will just give you what you want. I want a car, I'll get a car. I want liquor, I'll get imported liquor. Whatever it is that you want, whatever your heart desires. The 11th house will give you, it doesn't care whether that's good for you or not. But 5 and 9 care. 5 and 9 care about your growth. So here is the area. Don't see Karam as a negative thing, because it's not. You can decide today to perform in your present karma, because the present is the most powerful. You can choose to do karma that's above anything you've done. And that is something that you can really change your karmas with. So action oriented, good action oriented existence, something you can do with your 5 and 9 houses. Because there's this principle, a very interesting principle called praise, bow, and serve. So praise is the 5th house. When you meet someone who's praiseworthy, you'll praise him. Repetition of that praise will make you bow. And once you bow and you realize, and that humility comes in you, you have that humility then to serve. So 5th house is your praise, 9th is your bow, and 1 is serve. So that's essentially these houses. Now, we all are made of the 5 elements. The universe is made of the 5 elements. You have air, you have water, ether, fire, all of those elements. The universe is an exact replica of a part of what we have, and we are an exact replica of a part of this whole grand design. So, yet, why is it that all of us behave differently? Why is it that we're all motivated to do something different from each of us? I mean, someone wants to be an actor, someone wants to be a dancer, someone wants to open a restaurant. Everyone wants to do what they want to do. But why? I mean, we're all made of the same elements. Why are all these differentiations there? So we come to this concept then of Arth, Kam, and Moksha. I don't know if you've heard of these things. Arth is essentially your resources, the money that you have, to fulfill your Kam, which is your desires. And another set of houses in astrology are the Moksha houses. So you have 3 houses, which are the Dharma houses, 1, 5, and 9. You have 3 houses, which are the Arth houses, 3 that are the Kam, which represent your desires. And then you have the Moksha houses. Now, if you have a concentration of planets in the Moksha and the Dharma houses, what you will find is through life, really monetarily, materially, you're not really interested. You just need about that much to sustain, but the higher knowledge is something you will follow. So it gives you a kind of sense of what your motivations are going to be going forward in this life. If you have a concentration of grahas in your Kam and Earth houses, then your motivations will be in that direction. You'll probably work to fulfill your desires. So just by looking at a horoscope, really, we can tell kya ho raha hai yahan pe, you know, what is this person here to do? What are his motivations? What are his inclinations? And all of that. But I will tell you that in a fight between the 5 and the 9 houses versus the 11th, it will always be 5 and 9 that will win. So it will always be Dharma that will win. So if you remember Vashisht and Vishwamitra. Now Vishwamitra was an ordinary king. Before he became Vishwamitra. He went to visit Vashisht. Now Vashisht is one of the 7 Saptarishis, sage Vashisht. He had what they call the Kamdhenu cow. Now this Kamdhenu cow could give you anything you wanted. So this king went and he visited Vashisht at his ashram, saw this Kamdhenu cow that fed his entire army. And he said, oh my God, I have to have this for myself now. So he asked Vashisht, can I please have the Kamdhenu cow? So he said, no, I'm not going to give it to you. So this king lodged war on Vashisht. Not once, but a couple of times. He obviously kept failing because Vashisht is 5 and 9. He's a rishi, he's a realized soul. 11th is always going to lose in that battle. Because at the end of the day, you can get what you want, you can get sudden wealth or whatever, but it's not going to give you more intelligence. Intelligence is the 5th house. It's not going to give you a sense of righteousness, which is your 9th house. That is your 9th house. So ultimately what happened with Vashisht and Vishwamitra and the king was that this king kept doing tapasya. He kept doing tapasya and penance and tapasya. And finally he reached a level of a sage himself. And this was all to get that Kamdhenu cow. But when he became that sage, he actually forgot why he was doing all of this in the first place. He just completely forgot. And then he was known as Vishwamitra. He became a sage himself. So an ordinary king did manage to become a sage. He became one of the seven Saptarishis and was known as Vishwamitra, which means the friend of everyone. So 159, mind, body, and soul. These are the houses if you want to transform your life. You'll do it through 1, 5, and 9. And they won't work automatically like the 11th house. You'll have to work. अगर आपको intelligence चाहिए, आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा. अगर आपको मंत्र का ज्ञान चाहिए, आपको जपना पड़ेगा. To do all of these things, a certain amount of tapasya or however one reaches that way, that is required. They're not automatic, not like the 11th house where whatever you want, you just get. It's just about desires and fulfillment of desires. So that's really the karma theory that we have in astrology. And I do want to say that Jyotish is what we call the science of light. So say you're in a dark room, you can't see anything, so you're stumbling, you can hurt yourself, you don't know which way to go. फिर एक बत्ती on हो जाती है, light comes on. You know which way to go then. You know which way to maneuver yourself. You know what the path is that you need to be on. So that is Jyotish really. It's not about predicting an event. That's a very small part of Jyotish. Very, very small. Jyotish is the knowledge of the Brahman. How does this world function? Because you can't study Jyotish really as a compartment. You can't say, मेरे को physics आता है, but I don't know anything about maths and I don't know anything about chemistry. Everything has to be studied as a whole. So Jyotish is a whole as well. It can't be compartmentalized. So that's really where Jyotish fits into. Not just as a predictive tool, that's a very small part of it. But to tell you about your purpose in life. Why am I here? मैं कहाँ जाऊंगा? मैं क्या करूंगा? Because if there's any job in the world that you first need to figure out, your only job really is to know who you are. So आपको ना, if you know who you are, and you're a little evolved in that sense, आपको ना शनि तंग कर सकते हैं, ना राहु, ना केतु. So your dharma essentially is to know, in a sense, how do I get to the divine? How do I get to myself? So like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling Arjun that, I have a bigger perspective. You don't have to move about thinking about creating bad karma, because you might kill your cousins or you might kill your relatives in the Mahabharata, because your dharma really is as a warrior. You have to fight. And I am telling you what you are doing is right. So the role of a Jyotishi is in a sense that if for very long, not so much now anymore, unfortunately, but the role of a Jyotishi was always as a counselor, as a guide, as a friend, to show you the right way to be on really. The dharma of, say, ice is to be cold. Our dharma is to be the divine, really. So, कैसे करना है? किस pathway? This road, of course, is a lonely road. You have to go on it alone. But there's no harm in asking for directions. And that is something Jyotish can give you. It can give you those directions. कि मुझे क्या करना है? How do I maneuver this? Because Jyotish is very complicated. It's very complicated. It came from Shivji. Shiv Uvach. Okay. So Shivji had his third eye open and he spoke about this Vidya. Parvati ji heard it. And that's where another Rishi heard it. And that's how it's been taught. Ye Vidya aise aayi hai. It's come from 18 Rishis finally who taught it in Gurukuls by word of mouth. So it's Shiv Uvach. So it's like Jyotish is like a mobile phone. आपका एक mobile phone होगा, उसमें बड़े सारे sockets हैं, circuits हैं. अब वो एक circuit भी गलत हो जाए, आपकी prediction गलत हो जाएगी. So to study Jyotish, you also have to have an idea of what this universe is a bit about as well. because it is the study of a whole. You can't study anything in a compartment. So I think that's it from me. That's a short, as concise as I could keep it. If you have any questions, then do let me know.
Wow. Thank you, Bani. I think we are all trying to put our heads around what is Arth, Kam, Moksha and Dharma. So we are all trying to put our heads around it. But thank you for enlightening us with
Pleasure.
with so much on this topic. And let's see, viewers, if you would like to ask questions, please let us know. Bani, if you could stop sharing your screen, then it'll be easier. Neeraj Grover, could you unmute yourself?
Hi, Bani.
Yeah.
Good evening, Ji.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I just wanted a very basic query. In start of your session, you said that the timing of birth,
Right.
which is when we cry. Now I'm
When the
sure.
child takes the first breath.
Yeah. So I'm sure none of us can say by accuracy as to the time that has been recorded in our first birth chart or the horoscope, which we have been. I am 45 years of age now. So, and most of us are more than that. So how would a 1 or 2 minute scope here or there change the predictions? I may be going by a particular prediction which according to my horoscope today is visible, but if it was, let's say, if my father recorded that time, let's say 5 minutes here and there way back in 1975, so would it am I on a wrong path, or is there a way that I can see that okay, till now this has happened, so at least I am on the right path? Because if I look backwards on my horoscope, then what the horoscope predicted has already happened, so therefore I can be sure that I am on the right highway.
Yes.
So is there something like that?
Yes, we call it birth rectification. There are various tools available. 1 or 2 minutes won't. It really depends at what. So basically, the zodiac has is a 360 degrees. Okay, so within that 360 degrees, you have your 12 houses. Okay, now it's all 30 degrees each. If you're born at the end of that 30 degrees or at the beginning of it, then that 1 minute or 2 minutes can make a difference. But if you're not, it really doesn't. We have another very important technique in Jyotish called Prashna, right? So we take the current position of the planet. The moment the question is posed to us, उस वक़्त का हम chart बनाते हैं. We make a horoscope of that very minute and we answer that. It's called the Prashna way. So there are many tools at which we can actually see कि time of birth नहीं ठीक है तो कैसे. We also verify events. So yes, there are many techniques.
And another query which though I'm not an expert, not even a student of astrology.
Neither am I. Neither am I.
But which comes to my mind very, very often is that people have success, people have everything in their charts, but suddenly the life comes to an end. So if somebody was looking at that chart maybe a year back and had 5 years hence shown success in that chart, could somebody also predict that there is a very small time in the future wherein if you don't cross it, then actually the time goes wrong, something like a suicide committed by a very successful person? So in that kind of a thing, if the horoscope chart would say that you have a very, very, very successful life for, let's say, good 10, 12 years or 15 years or 20 years, but the life comes to an end within 1 year. So how to look about that? Because I'm sure the charts would be showing success thereafter the life also, because I don't see any horoscope which stops at a particular year. The horoscope predicts, or whatever we can read in the horoscope, they go through and through the years. So my ultimate query would be, a good astrologer, can he or she predict that at this point, somewhere in this point at your life, there is a hurdle. If you cross it, then there is success, but if you don't cross it, it's the end of the road for you. Can death be predicted?
Yes. यमा जी जो हैं, यमराज is Shani's brother. They're brothers. Okay. Saturn is the planet of longevity. And there are many combinations that come up in a horoscope that can talk about something called, what we say, Mrityu Tula Kasht. So death-like conditions or death. Yes, we can say that you're going to have a great problem here. But no one is God.
So,
No
so
one
therefore
will
there
say
is
for
some
certain.
indication, obviously.
There is definitely an indication. Definitely an indication.
Okay, can we move to the
Thank you
next
so much.
question? Thank you for your question, Mr.
Thank
Bro.
you.
I
Mrs.
have a question, Sanjana ji.
I also have Sanjana.
Mrs. Chip, please go ahead. And then Mr. Bhala, you can ask the next question.
Okay, thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you, Bani. It was really very, very interesting talk for me. One of the most
Thank you very
interesting
much, ma'am.
I have
Thank you
heard.
very much, ma'am.
So I also want to join the course like Sanjana has done of astrology.
You're most welcome, ma'am.
Now, what I want to ask you is that, very often we go to a Jyotshi, like you said, or all these pundits and all, they say they can read the horoscope. Very often they'll tell you, ये दोष है आप इसमें, तो आप ये पाठ करवाइए. Does it actually make a difference and all? अगर आप
Remedies, ma'am, remedies actually, आपको अगर चोट लग जाए, तो आप Savlon लगा लेते हैं. ठीक. ऊपर से वो ठीक हो गया ना. It's not cured from the core, really. Ultimately, you have to work on these things yourself. A remedy is a very temporary fix. And most of the time, remedies are not done. For instance, बहुत दोष हैं जो आपको पंडित कहेंगे वो आपकी कुंडली में हैं. Most of them don't even exist.
Yeah, that's it.
I, for one, growing up, thought I had one particular dosh. When I studied this formally, it was not one. There's no such thing. So,
But I mean, it is.
I think that's very reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even in the Vedas, you'll have various parts of things. So rituals were also a part, but it had to be followed up with, say, recitation of hymns. It had to be followed with meditation. It had to be followed with tapasya. But we got stuck at that ritual phase. And even a ritual, these come from the Vedas, right? So I don't think anyone even does them the way they're supposed to be done. They're very, very elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, अगर आप ठीक से करेंगे भी नहीं, you will get negative karma of that as well. Plus, the reason you're doing it won't even. There's no point.
So then you should allow the destiny to take its course as it is.
Destiny is in your hands, ma'am. आप आज जो कर्म कर रहे हैं, that will determine your tomorrow. It's not, karma is not something that is not in your hands. It is. You can make it in your own hands. We can live lives where, the Hindu religion as such doesn't propagate poverty. There's nothing wrong in that, really. Saying you must be poor, otherwise you can't be realized. No. But prosperity with honesty, that is what Mahalakshmi is. Right? Or even what Guru Nanak said, you earn an honest living, you share it with everyone, and you live your life like that. आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी फिर. हम आजकल कोई लॉ ऑफ नेचर नहीं फॉलो कर रहे हैं. We have a lot of man-made laws today, and we're all following those laws. But there are very important laws of nature that we don't follow at all. Does anyone go to jail for pollution, for instance? Nobody. Nobody is held even accountable for it, right? But those laws are far more important.
Yes, Sanjana, may I?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead, Mr. Bhala.
बानी जी,
हाँ जी सर.
आपने इतने कोर्सेज भारतीय विद्या भवन से किए हैं
हाँ जी.
और एक अच्छी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है जिससे कि आपने शिक्षा प्राप्त की है.
हाँ जी.
और इसके अंदर
अभी
अभी आप कर भी रहे हैं, कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस है. तो इसमें अभी तक आपने प्रेडिक्शंस के बारे में तो अच्छा ज्ञान प्राप्त कर लिया होगा, हाउ टू प्रेडिक्ट द जो भी ये जनपत्रीज हैं?
नहीं सर, आई एम स्टिल वेटिंग फॉर माय थर्ड आई। अभी मेरी बंद है, जैसे ही हो जाएगी वो मेरी प्रिडिक्शंस भी फ्लो करेंगी। इट्स नॉट वेरी इजी। प्रिडिक्शन पाथ इज अ डिफरेंट पाथ इन अ लॉट।
आपने प्रिडिक्शन का कोर्स अभी कंप्लीट
जी हाँ,
किया है?
जी हाँ, बट मेरा इतना एरिया ऑफ इंटरेस्ट नहीं है।
नहीं, थोड़ा बहुत तो किया
हाँ जी,
होगा।
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल,
आप
बताइए।
ये बताइए, क्वेश्चन प्रिडिक्शन के ऊपर है
हाँ जी,
कि
बताइए।
आपने अभी तक जितनी प्रिडिक्शंस की हैं उसमें से जो फीडबैक क्या है, कितनी पॉजिटिव्स आई हैं, कितनी थोड़ा सा ठीक नहीं आई हैं?
काफी पॉजिटिव आई हैं सर, बट मैंने जितने अपने हस्बैंड के लिए प्रिडिक्शंस किए वो हमेशा पॉजिटिव आई हैं। लेट मी पुट इट दैट वे।
और जो पॉजिटिव्स नहीं आई उनको कुछ आप बताती हैं, क्या कुछ करना है?
सर प्रिडिक्शन का भी एक तरीका होता है, एक तरीका होता है। और आप जब प्रिडिक्ट करते हैं, आप ये नहीं कहेंगे हाँ जी आपको जॉब वो मिल जाएगी। एक जो यू हैव टू इवन आस्क द राइट क्वेश्चन। एक तरीका भी होता है क्वेश्चन का। व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन? So far whatever I have been asked has been quite general, I would say, and yes, it's been fairly okay अभी तक तो।
My last question.
हाँ जी।
This is from everybody's side.
Mr. Bhalla, can I
एक simple एक बस. It is from everybody's side. जन्मपत्री सबको दिखानी पड़ती है, तो कैसे
क्यों पड़ती है?
किसी की शादी करानी है, वो
सर आपको लगता है कि जब शिवजी और पार्वती की शादी हुई थी वहां गुणमिलान हुआ था? नहीं,
मैं जो आपको रियलिटी बता रहा हूँ।
नहीं सर, वो रियलिटी बिल्कुल नहीं है। आपको पत्रियां मैच कराने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है।
कोई जरूरत नहीं है? अच्छा,
बिल्कुल नहीं है।
नहीं, और पत्रियां बनवाने की भी नहीं जरूरत?
नहीं, ना बनवाइए। जब आपको देखने से आपकी लाइफ आप ही के हाथ में है। ज्योतिष एक पत्री तक मत सीमित रखिए। वो हॉरोस्कोप एक बहुत छोटा। मैंने जितनी ज्योतिष पढ़ी है अभी तक, I realize how very little I know about life. It has only humbled me. This Vidya is for me self knowledge. पत्री बनवाना ना बनवाना, that's a very secondary thing. Study.
चलो जी, चलो। और संजय जी, that's all from me.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Can I?
Murgai, after you, Mr. Ved Mehra.
Yes.
Leonard Murgai, let's keep it short so that we can get.
Yes, very short. Bani, thank you for such a great presentation. One small question: what is going to happen at Leh?
1 minute, Mr. Gupta. Let's hear Mr. Murgai first, and then
Okay.
we'll ask your question.
Vani, there are two types of laws. One is the law of land.
Sorry?
There are two laws which are applicable to us.
Right.
The law of land.
Right.
And the other one is the divine law. Now,
Okay.
I take a specific example. Let's say a person commits a murder.
Right.
And as per the rule of law, he is hanged.
Okay.
Now, as far as the karma is concerned,
Right.
has he paid for his karma, or will, as per the divine law, it will be carried forward to be served in future and suffer for it? How would you correlate that?
एक चीज है, we are punished not for our sins but also by our sins.
Fine.
Right? When you are committing a murder, normal human behavior would sort of say that आपको भी उस एक्ट में काफी पेन हुई होगी, आपको भी you will feel a lot of repentance because it's the nature really, you know. Virtue is its own reward, and as we say, sin is its own punishment. But yes, it will be carried forward. It will be carried forward.
It will still be carried forward.
It will still be carried forward.
So that means the law of land and divine laws are entirely
They're not entirely different, but they do go hand in hand. The law of land is here. We may think we know exactly what may have happened. एक पूरी सीक्वेंस क्या हुई है वो एक्चुअली तो परमात्मा ही जानते हैं. तो आई थिंक वो जब वहां तक पहुंचेंगे वो ही ये डिसाइड करेंगे कि ये ज्यादा कैरी फॉरवर्ड होगा कि नहीं. बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली उनको ही पता है कि ये क्या एक्शन हुआ है, ना आपको और ना मुझे.
Okay. Next question is Mr. Mehra. Please ask your question.
Hi, thank you for your talk. It seems like you have condensed a lot of information in a very short time. So the thoughts have been very, very fast while you've been speaking. So real quick about the reading horoscope. If your Jupiter is in your 9th house,
Yeah.
What kind of effects are there? And is that person destined to be always obese and fat, or can that person reduce weight and be like at a fitter?
Jupiter in your 9th house. There is no such prediction that can be made of Jupiter by itself in the 9th house, because Jupiter has to be in a particular sign. Okay, so we need to know what sign Jupiter is in. If Jupiter is in the 9th house, if Jupiter is in the 9th house in its own sign or exalted.
I think exalted, yeah.
So if it's exalted, then that's great.
No, but can that person, is that person?
You will be obese if you get to the 1st house. आपका जो पहला घर है ना हॉरोस्कोप का, वो आपकी फिजिकल एट्रीब्यूट्स होती हैं. एक जो जुपिटर जाके आपकी जहाँ हॉरोस्कोप में बैठता है वो एक नक्षत्र में बैठता है. What
Right.
is that nakshatra and where is that lord? So Jyotish cannot be studied as Jupiter in the 9th house. I mean, even I need to see the whole chart to tell you, because Jupiter is sitting in a nakshatra. The nakshatra has a lord. Where is that lord sitting? There's not one thing here. Mobile phone. Remember, it's the mobile phone.
Right.
There are many, 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 many layers.
So
और जो आपको जुपिटर का रिजल्ट तभी आएगा जब आपकी जुपिटर की दशा आएगी. फॉर इंस्टेंस आई हैव सीन सो मेनी पीपल वेयर 4-5 रिंग्स, जेमस्टोन्स. मतलब जितने प्लैनेट नहीं है उतने जेमस्टोन्स पहने होंगे. नाउ अगेन व्हेन इट कम्स टू जेमस्टोन्स, इफ वो प्लैनेट की अगर दशा ही नहीं आई है, एक प्लैनेट की दशा एक बार में आती है ना, अगर वो दशा ही नहीं है तो the planet will not, it won't affect you. So you can remove the rest of the ring to start with.
okay.
Then
So can you tell
when you wear a gemstone, you are amplifying the energy of a planet. अगर आप amplify करेंगे उसको, उस planet को, उसके negative भी तो amplify होंगे. There is no planet that's 100% benefic in your horoscope. Very few are. And you should only wear a gemstone, for instance, of a planet that is 100% benefic. Because it has a negative too.
So then you can't ever wear a gemstone because no planet is.
But who has asked you to wear a gemstone?
No, I'm talking based on your logic.
Yeah, you shouldn't. एक दशा आ रही है बहुत खराब, आपका जुपिटर है, सन के साथ बैठा है, वो डिबिलिटेट हो गया है. Okay, you can maybe wear a ruby. But you have to understand that when you're coming to an astrologer, at least in the current scenario, every person wants to leave with something. नहीं, आप बताइए कुछ उपाय बताइए. But most of the time there is no upay really.
Okay, so
This is another question which has just been put on chat: is does wearing stones really help?
No, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, it doesn't. And in any case, one stone at a time. In any case.
So can you tell something about Kal Sarp Dosh?
At Bharati Vidya Bhavan, we don't believe in it, sir. Even Jawaharlal Nehru had Kal Sarp Dosh.
So,
but it's a very important yoga down south. It's basically a yoga which says that the planets will be on one side of the horoscope, basically.
So in terms of your science, to elaborate, like
there is no such thing in our science. Formally, what we have learned is that this doesn't have very negative effects.
They say that you have to go to.
You have Kal Sarp Yoga, you can sleep easy. It's not a big deal in your horoscope.
No. So the other thing I wanted to ask real quick was that when you talk, this is a general thing, I think for everyone's benefit. So you said that Jyotish, reading a horoscope is a very small part of it. It's more of a philosophy and science of understanding life on its own. So how
Yeah.
far does the Karam play a role in taking you above and beyond what your horoscope is, so that you can attain moksha and go on that path? And can you make a fast forward is my main question here. And how is that? So if you could talk on that.
So breaking, so even karmas have their breaking code. Okay, like a bad karma can have a breaking code in that sense. If you see the horoscope, or at least in my experience, I found someone who's done very heavy karma, that is positive heavy karma, they are able to change the direction of their life. So predictions for them, just looking at that horoscope, may not be right. Because in the present, because the horoscope is the study of the prarabdha karma, that small bit of rice that you've got from your sanchit. So prarabdha, in that sense, if you are able to break that code and do some pretty heavy duty karma in this life, then you can certainly fast track your way out of here, for sure.
Or heavy pain. Like they say, pain is a gift.
Well, but eventually, what is your purpose, sir? Is your purpose pain and suffering?
A lot of people's purpose has come out of through their pain. You know, someone who had some kind of a cancer has established a cancer institute to do something and then has really leapt forward. Someone who had, Sylvester Stallone had a cut over here with forceps, and that made him stand on his own feet, and he has produced what he has done based on his own this thing. And there's so many examples of people.
So that is the break. That is the break that the planet's energy will give in your life. You decide. So it's about how your reaction to these circumstances, right? How do you react to a circumstance? You can either cry about it or you can get up and make something out of it. That is your area of free will.
Yes, exactly.
That is what Shani Bhagwanji is trying to tell you. He's trying to give you that break. He's throwing that obstacle. He's throwing that struggle at you. It's for you to just hop.
I
and
think
you will हमेशा एक 7.5 के बाद, for instance, which is a transit of Saturn, and it's very feared. वो हमेशा शनि भगवान जी आपको कुछ दे के जाते हैं. क्यों दे के जाते हैं? क्योंकि you've been through so much. You've been through so many trials and tribulations. जो जैसे अश्लेषा नक्षत्र है, okay, for instance, that is a very turbulent nakshatra. Now, after that comes Magha. After all those trials and tribulations, Magha nakshatra will come. That's the energy where you're like on a throne. You've arrived. So all of these energies play a role. But at the end of the day, today we do have some portion of free will. So we can change that karma then.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Mehra. Thank you very much. And thank you, Bani, for answering that. Mr. Ved, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, I had a question, and I think everyone probably is interested in that question. I'm actually not in Delhi right now. I'm in Washington DC area.
Okay,
oh, that's great to hear, sir. Welcome to Delhi.
But my brother is there in Vasant Vihar. But my question was, have you, first of all, thank you very much to Bani for this talk. I really enjoyed it. And my question is, have you looked at the prediction for this COVID-19? कब relief होगा सारी दुनिया में इसका?
Sir, उसी के बारे में जब prediction की बात आती है, like I said, I'm still waiting for my third eye. अभी उसका कुछ हुआ नहीं है. But when it does open, I will give you a response. But the community in general is talking about September. We are likely to see a change in September when Rahu and Ketu both transit out of a house that they've been in for 18 months. But what's important really is not when it's getting over, but let's just say the attitude and our reaction to this circumstance, because COVID नहीं होगा तो कुछ और हो जाएगा.
और कुछ.
Correct. So circumstance is not so important, but our reaction is far more important.
Mr. Anil Gupta, you wanted to ask a question? Yeah, please unmute yourself, sir.
I want to ask a question, Aarti Gupta.
Hello, Mr. Gupta, please unmute yourself. We
I'm
can't.
RK Gupta.
No, this is Anil Gupta.
Yeah. My question relates to what is happening in Ladakh and immediate future. Are we going to go at war or we are not?
Another prediction. Bani?
Let's hope not, sir. That would be added promotion, right?
What do the stars say?
Stars talk of a Mahaparivartan Yoga in September. क्या परिवर्तन होगा वो देखा जाएगा. But yes, there is a Mahaparivartan Yoga for India coming.
Many astrologers on the YouTube are predicting some death or murder of violent death of some of the political leaders of any country, not in India particularly, and that as a precursor to what is going to happen to the world.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. Whether it's predicted or it's not, let's hope that doesn't happen, because really, I think we are all suffering enough as it is without any crisis like that taking over. But Bani, you'd like to say something about that?
Second, my my battery is just about to die. I'm just getting a charge.
Okay. In the meantime, can I just read another question? Does it help getting upayas done from Pandits? Bani has answered that question before. I'm just going through the chat and just asking the question.
My view on upayas is that they're just quick fixes. Real upayas are more upayas that you do, well, for lack of a better word, than tapasya. That is really an upaya. You have to concentrate yourself on the energy. That is where a Jyotish can come and help you and guide you, which is this energy.
There is a
maybe that needs some direction. So that energy is something, if you concentrate yourself on and you ask for their blessings and you ask, it's about making a direct relationship, I believe, with the graha. जो आपकी लाइफ में आपका कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, अगर आप किसी अपने ड्राइवर को भेज के 5 किलो दाल डाल देंगे, वो I don't believe in those upayas. I think that there is no personal thing to it, and वो ठीक हो जाएगा तो फिर कुछ और आ जाएगा. At the end of the day, you have to work on yourself.
What's your philosophy on meditation?
Just one second. Let me just ask this question, because it's an interesting question. Why do scientists question the existence of astrology? This is a question which has been put on the chat.
So, you know, Christians have always called Hindu mythology, right? Don't hear the New Testament as being mythology. But for Christians and the Westerners, really, mythology is Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Hindu mythology. Science, I think that we do have a bit of a role to play in that as well. But I also think that ignorance and not enough knowledge is why scientists feel this way. At some point, there was some threat there. But now it is a science. So the Bombay High Court has said so, it's a science.
But didn't you
say, as a science?
Bani, you said earlier on that, you know, astrology is a study which encompasses a lot of different fields.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't study astrology by itself. You need to have different elements which you put together. So,
Sorry?
I just want to say something about that, you know, how you compile it all together and then it becomes like a science, because you can't study astrology in isolation. I mean, you just can't study the stars and the planets in isolation.
If your mind, your body is all in tandem. So for your body, what do you do? Some form of exercise, right? Yoga or something.
We found out about that in naturopathy yesterday.
Yeah. So you do these things. Mind ke liye aap tapas karte hain. Things like that. You've got to center yourself. Meditation, as you asked, is about centering yourself. You can't meditate if your mind is cluttered. You can't.
Another interesting question is, what's more important? Planets at birth, planets now, or karma?
All.
Just one small question can I ask?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know that राहु और केतु के इंग्लिश में नाम क्या है?
North Node and South Node. Dragon's head and dragon's tail. ये कोई planets नहीं है मैम.
हाँ.
ये आपको याद होगा सागर मंथन जब हुआ था.
I know. I mean एक का हेड वो काट दिया गया था. तो एक सिर है, राहु और केतु के हैंड है. हस्ताएं.
राहु ने थोड़ा सा अमृत पी लिया था.
So that's why.
Right? But Ketu didn't. And Ketu doesn't have a head.
And so he's called Hasta.
विष्णु जी ने उनको फिर bodies दी हैं. Body पे एक serpent का head आ गया. All of that they finally got a form.
What did you say? What is it?
North node and south node. Dragon's head, dragon's tail.
अच्छा.
ये सब terms हैं इनके लिए.
But are they sort of anywhere in the thing in the?
They are points in astronomy, ma'am.
Acha.
They are points. They are very sensitive points. Study of astrology is prakashit, things that you can see with your eyes, and there are a few things that you can't see. Such things will affect you more mentally. They cause mental maladies, as they say.
Anyway, I think I'll have to join the course. This is in-depth study.
Are there any more questions? Because
yes, I have a question. Yeah, I just wanted to find a small question, everybody. Mental part of
आपकी आवाज टूट रही है सर.
There are two devices आपके यहाँ जो on है. एक को off कर दीजिए please. हाँ. नहीं. We can't hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Is numerology an allied science or it's a separate deal altogether?
I haven't studied numerology, sir, so I wouldn't like to comment.
It's completely different ballgame.
No, there's no numerology in astrology, but numerology, I'm sure, has a role to play, but I'm not aware yet of it.
Thank you.
I wouldn't like to comment on something that I don't know.
Can I ask a question, Sandhya ji?
Yeah, sure. Sir, please go ahead.
Bani, just wanted to ask you about the last phase of Sadhasati. I'm going through Sadhasati. My moon is in Sagittarius.
Correct.
So how is normally this last phase of Sadhasati?
So that is something we'll have to see your whole horoscope to decide.
Okay.
It's not something that you can see, but general एक trend जरूर होता है that the hardest is always when Saturn goes over your moon. So the last phase में आपको काफी रगड़ा गया है ना, तो काफी you are used to that रगड़ा.
Okay.
It goes off a bit better, but ऐसी कोई, it's not fixed in stone. You have to see where exactly Saturn is, in what degree it is. It's important to see Saturn आपका अकेले बैठा है या conjunct है किसी planet के साथ, कहाँ aspect कर रहा है, ये सब चीजें लेके ही एक informative prediction.
Okay. And do you consult professionally? Can I meet you and consult with you?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Sandhya ji, can you share Bani's number with us, please?
Bani, would you like to share your contact details?
Sure.
You can share the screen for people who would like to take the information down. Thank you very much, Bani. I think
thank you.
45.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all.
Bani, आपका number चाहिए होगा.
Please share your details first before you go off, Bani.
How do I do that?
Do a screen share. Do you have that? Okay, while Bani is doing her screen share and sharing her details with you all, thank you for being such a fabulous and engaged audience. I'm happy to let you know that next week we have two very interesting yet very different topics on our Zoom-in series. We have learned about microgreens and grow them at home, which will be conducted by Preeti Lumba. So yesterday, if you can recall, Dr. Ritu mentioned about eating microgreens. So that's something which we can learn about next week, which is on the 7th of July. Learn about microgreens and grow them at home with Preeti Lumba. And we have Vedanta philosophy being discussed with Janki Santoke, Dr. Janki Santoke. She is from the Vedanta Philosophy Center in Mumbai. She is going to talk about how do you know what you know? How do you know what you know? So these are the lineup for next week. So look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you so much.
On the 8th at 6:30 p.m. And Bani, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Sharing what
Thank
you do.
you. Thank you.
So charming.
Thanks, Bani. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, audience, and wish you a very good night. And
good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ganesh. Thanks, Ata. Thank you so much.
Anyway, उनका माली घास लगा रहा था